This is Stories from Elsewhere, a place for strange, unexpected, and revealing tales from here and beyond.
What happens when you realize you need to let go of the Earth? And what's making everything more complicated is an impatient group of extraterrestrials, Carrot Top, and flamingos. I'm Scott Glassman, and welcome to another episode of Stories from Elsewhere. I'd like to give a shout out to our first story partner, Collingsweird, an awesome apparel and gift shop in the creative haven of Collingswood, New Jersey. You can visit them online at collingsweird.com. Really grateful to have their support for this story podcast. Today's story is part 2 of The Argument for Humans, so if you prefer a serial experience, head on back and listen to story number 7. But if you're ready now, sit back, buckle in, and let's go for a little ride. This is How I Learned to Let Go of the Earth.
The Reticulians were fair, but skeptical of other species who held press conferences. They had a reputation for being finicky when it came to the company they chose in the universe. Living amid uncontrolled volcanic activity for thousands of years will do that. All the TikTok videos in the world, 8.2 billion of them, created to demonstrate our self-declared 22-day transformation into lightness, could not convince them that we would make acceptably benign mining partners. Even after all the rushed sitcom productions, non-stop laughing contests in high schools, war room joking protocols, and millions of dollars poured into stupid human tricks. Even after be light to each other, cross-platform social media campaigns, corporate branding parodies like Pepsi's "Thirsty for more of whatever you were drinking last," Gorilla Costume Mondays in Congress and Parliament, and Mime Till You Rhyme Wednesdays in boardrooms across corporate America and abroad. Even after the total replacement of hard journalism and sentimental Hallmark cards with ridiculous nonsense wordplay, including a version of Scrabble that only allowed obscenities. Even after every serious person remaining in North America, Canada, and Europe made a 2-minute video roasting themselves, tagged 25 strangers, and posted them to the BeTheLight.gov and SaveUsForGod'sSake.org websites. Even after all our frothy, self-deprecating ice immersions with Wim Hof, and announcing the elimination of daylight saving time with a gaggle of hyenas cackling live on Good Morning America, the Reticulians did not think we could ever shed the seriousness at the core of our humanity, nor share our resources proportionately. Worse, in their view, we could not escape our fundamental disregard for the lives of those we disagreed with. They pointed to the multitude of vices etched into the telomeres of our DNA, and the self-interest that festered in the aggregate of our activities, something neither evolution nor planetary crisis could wring out of us. They did, however, love Carrot Top. The revised condition for our survival. Our Reticulian intermediary transmitted the revised condition for our survival on Monday, October 11th at 8:23 a.m. As most of the off-world analysts gathered in the Zoom meeting concluded, it seemed eminently doable. We were to place Carrot Top on the dome of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. at 9:30 p.m. that Saturday for transport. If not, they would proceed to remove the Earth's oxygen from our atmosphere using their version of a giant cosmic vacuum cleaner. They would borrow a supermassive black hole, the one closest to us, 26,000 light-years away, and concentrate its gravitational force at our troposphere through a 5-dimensional funnel. They explained their method in such fine detail, with the exact exponential force variables involved, F equals gm to the 38th, that it eliminated any doubt as to how serious they were. There was only one potential problem. No one had told Carrot Top yet. He had just finished his 5th sold-out show of a 10-night engagement at the Luxor in Las Vegas. Audiences couldn't get enough of him. Apparently, neither could the Reticulians. I've got some bad news. After a particularly raucous Tuesday evening show, Jennifer pulled aside her longtime client, Scott Thompson, as he returned to the green room. They had worked together for 21 years. "Hey, Scott, can I talk to you a sec?" "Sure. What's up, Jen?" "I've got some bad news, and, well, that's it. Just bad news." "Is it my mum?" No, nothing like that. It's, you know that weird thing a few weeks back where you performed for that, alien? Yeah, tough one. Well, actually, I'm hearing that they really liked you." "Oh, that's good." "No, I mean really liked you. So much so that they would like you to perform for them again, on their planet." Carrot Top put down his bottle of water. "You're serious?" "Yeah, I just got off the phone with someone pretty high up about it. Government type. Jen, you know I don't like breaking contracts. What we have here, the audiences, our relationship with Luxor, it's perfect." Then he thought about it for a minute. "How long would I have to be on their planet? Like, what's the length of the engagement?" "So that's the thing. Based on what they're saying, forever. Like, the rest of your life." Carrot Top sat down on the only sofa in the room, too firm for anyone's comfort. He sighed and ran his hands through his sweat-matted red curls. "Well, just tell them no. I'm not interested." "The way it was presented to me, Scott, was that you don't have a choice. Either you go with them on your own this Saturday morning, or they'll come and take you. I'm really sorry." They were silent a while, feeling the finality of it. "I have to tell my family, and we'll have to get all my old trunks out of storage." He reached for her hand. "We had a pretty good run here, didn't we?" "The best," Jen said, getting tearful. "Did they say how it would happen? Do they beam me up or something?" "Well, that's the other thing. So, from what I understand, you're going to be placed on top of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. on Saturday night, around 9:30 p.m. "What, like in a harness?" "They weren't specific, but I'm assuming yes, in a harness. Maybe attached to a helicopter." A room in the back of a garage. Now engaged to Sarah and comfortable in my new expediter role at Slackfall PR, I felt somewhat hopeful about the future of humanity. The last thing I expected was to find myself in the back seat of a Land Rover at 1 a.m., speeding toward a secret location in the heart of D.C. Neither the driver nor my handler said anything. I assumed it meant the likeness campaign with Slackfall had either faltered or the Reticulians had changed their mind about giving us a second chance. At last check, we still had 6 days left to prove we could take ourselves less seriously. We turned into a parking garage and raced down about 5 or 6 ramps until reaching a guard booth. The gate went up without us stopping, and we proceeded to park beside a nondescript steel door set into the garage's back wall. My handler was a tall man in a black suit who felt like my undertaker. He had me get out of the car first, led me to the door, and swiped us in. Once inside, we followed a long chrome hallway to the end and entered what looked like an interrogation room, with chrome floors and chrome walls and a steel table with a glass of water, pen and notepad neatly arranged in the center. The handler left, and in walked a short woman with a tight brown ponytail and an intense stare. She sat across from me and folded her hands. "Anthony, I'm an OA2, off-world analyst advisor to the president, from the advance team." "Okay, I guess you know who I am. What happened?" I asked. "The Reticulians rejected our lightness claims, but we can still save ourselves if we hand over Carrot Top." "Well, that seems like a win-win, no?" I said. "He seems like the type of person who would probably enjoy a change of scenery." I could feel the irritation growing in her joyless eyes. "Unfortunately, that's not all they want. Let me ask you a question. Did you by any chance wear a shirt with pink flamingos in sunglasses shortly after the initial negotiations with the Reticulian intermediary?" "I think, yeah. What difference does it make? And how do you know about that?" "The Reticulians cast a wide net around anyone involved in those negotiations. We think either for their own protection or out of curiosity. You, Rob, Shara, Weston, your whole team." I touched behind my ear to see if I could feel a bump where they might have implanted a chip. "Oh, they don't need to use the chips anymore. Connections are all done remotely through theta waves. Yesterday, on the open channel, they shared with us a resonance." "Yeah, I've heard of those. I have SCI clearance." She wasn't impressed. "So then you know. It's sort of like a mental recording from your mind. You went to a restaurant with your girlfriend where she mocked your shirt." I jumped to Sarah's defense. "Mocked is a strong word. She had a thought about it. We all have thoughts about things. It appears our friends from Zeta Reticuli were not too pleased with her treatment of you. They said he feels shame about it but shouldn't. The shirt, you know." That's when I lost it. "You know, you can just tell the Reticulians that they can go ahead and make their little nefarious plans to destroy our planet, but stay out of my relationship, okay?" She tilted her head and smiled. "Take it easy." "Sorry." After seeing your shirt, they were excited by the idea of flamingos wearing sunglasses. So what they have asked, in exchange for not suffocating us, that in addition to Carrot Top, we round up all our flamingos and bring them to the Capitol building on Saturday night wearing sunglasses. So you see, Anthony, your lovely shirt choice has made our lives a lot more complicated." "Wait a sec. They said all the flamingos." She nodded. "All of them. Every flamingo in existence." "Yes," she said. "How many is that?" I asked. 2.6 million. I'm sure you didn't pull me out of my house at 1 a.m. and drag me down here just to yell at me about my taste in shirts and tell me about a flamingo problem I can't solve." "No, there's more," she said. "They would like you to introduce them to the flamingos." "Me? What do I know about flamingos?" "They think you have a special connection with them, based on your shirt." "And these are supposed to be highly intelligent beings," I said, shaking my head. "They're probably hearing you say that, you know, just a heads up." "Right. The president has appointed you our flamingo ambassador. Do you accept this assignment?" "Do I have a choice?" Not really. As we speak, we have crews loading transport planes with the flamingo populations from Hialeah Park, San Diego Zoo, and the Bronx Zoo. Our wildlife specialists are working with our GO teams around the clock at Laguna Madre, Port Aransas, and in the Everglades. And we've got 4 sunglass companies bulk shipping their full stock to us. Let me ask you something, I said. How do you plan on getting a pair of sunglasses onto a flamingo and having them stay there? We're working with PETA on it. They've agreed to help, just this once, with a guarantee of full discretion and deniability of involvement, of course. The arrival. 9:35 p.m. Saturday, October 16th. If there's one thing the Reticuleans were known for, it was their punctuality. Note card in hand and wearing the freshly ironed polyblend flamingo shirt Sarah couldn't stand, I stood atop a 60-foot-high plexiglass platform supported by 2 hydraulic lifts on the west terrace of the Capitol building. Speakers rose on either side of me, a microphone perched on a rickety stand in front, as if I would launch any moment into a stand-up routine. Intelligence and military teams sat in trailers parked around the Capitol, watching through their monitors. They had cut the city lights, cleared the air traffic. Soft red floodlights capped a few tall poles erected around the Capitol stairs, bathing us in a visual reminder of the possibility of our annihilation. The stairs on both sides teemed with flamingos. Trays of water with shrimp lay among the honking, gabbling, wing-flapping masses. Not a single one of them stood on one foot, as the kid-sized sunglasses fell off their curved beaks from the poor organic adhesive Peter had suggested. The sunglasses clattered at their feet and caused fights. Many fell over as they bumped into each other, and that stirred up even more chaos and neck-straightening and honking. A veritable flamingo carpet stretched down the steps out onto the west front grounds, corralled on all sides by 6-foot-high steel mesh fences. I turned around and looked up toward the top of the Capitol dome. Carrot Top gave me a friendly little wave, secured there by 5 taut yellow nylon straps attached to what looked like a weightlifting belt cinched around his waist, the same way you might keep a young tree upright as it takes root. In this anxious early evening quiet, the Capitol stood awash in that ominous red alert glow. Everyone knew our efforts might still leave the Reticuleans feeling less than satisfied, seeing as how we had failed to secure even a fraction of the total flamingo population. At 9:36 p.m., a pressure began to build in our inner ears. We all felt it. The intelligence and military crew members turned to each other and commented on the sensation. I tried to equalize the pressure by pinching my nose and blowing with force, but that only increased the pressure to the point of sharp pain. One of the sky observers in trailer number 2, Jerry Grist, an astrophysicist from NASA, noticed that a large swath of stars just east of the Capitol dome had gone missing, blotted out as though by a rectangular cloth of black ink. The blot moved slowly toward the Capitol dome and stopped almost directly over it. The flamingo's frenetic and squabbling state of agitation dissipated into a trance-like stillness. Carrot Top and I peered up at the massive absence swallowing the sky. A searing edge of white light appeared around its cylindrical shape like a ring of fire. The audiographic equipment in trailer number 2 detected a low 20 Hz hum, the kind you didn't hear but felt in your chest. A small portal opened in the bottom of the object, and a wide blue beam snapped on, illuminating Carrot Top and cloaking the Capitol dome, mixing with the red spotlights to paint everything purple. The straps holding him broke, and he floated up like a stick-figure balloon with flailing arms and legs into the craft, the portal closing swiftly behind him. The cylindrical craft then drifted out over the West Front grounds and stopped there. A message crackled through my earpiece. "Begin the introductions." I took another look at my note card and approached the microphone. They had aimed the speakers out toward the National Moor instead of up, which made it seem like I was addressing the birds. "Hello, friends of Zeta Reticuli. It is my honor to introduce you to our proud flamingos. Here is what you might want to know about them in case you are not familiar with such beautiful aviary specimens. They like to stand in salty pools so they can feed upside down with their curved beaks. Their pink color comes from their diet, so please provide a copious supply of tiny shrimp if you can, if you would like to keep them pink. Allow them to stand on one leg as much as possible, as this will help them stay warm and not suffer from tired legs and hips. Lastly, you want to keep them together because they like each other's company, tonight's behavior notwithstanding. I added that last part in case their tousling and bickering gave the Reticulians second thoughts. Maybe they would decide at the last minute that they didn't want to deal with the hassle of birds that didn't get along. I heard someone call to me from below, beside one of the lifts. "Anthony, we have a late add-on. We're lifting him up to you." As I was delivering my introductory remarks, two guardsmen had brought over another hydraulic lift and set it up adjacent to the one I stood on. It raised the add-on toward me, an older, white-haired gentleman wearing a tan pea coat and expensive black Italian leather shoes. He stepped off his platform onto mine and introduced himself. "I am Stanton Kim from PETH, he said. "PETH?" I asked. "People for the Ethical Treatment of Humans. I'm the new executive director. So, young chap, it's important for me to pop onto that ship up there." "For Carrot Top?" "For all of us, eh?" he said with a little smile. I went back to the microphone. "And I would also like to introduce you to our great flamingo conservator, our top aviary expert, Stanton Kim. He will make sure you have no trouble from the flamingos." Stanton fumed. "What are you doing?" I shushed him and said in a low voice, "They won't take you if they think you might harangue them. But if you're going to help with the flamingos..." "What the bloody hell do I know about flamingos?" "You've got a pocket AI, don't you?" "Yes," Stanton said. "Then what's the problem?" Stanton resigned himself to the subterfuge. "So, what happens now?" "Now? We wait to see if we have a deal, and enough flamingos." Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Never judge a reticulian transport by its shape in the night sky. What at first seems like a compact vessel, where you would have to sit sandwiched between 10 or so muscular reptilians that smell like methane, is actually quite roomy and comfortable. Thanks to quantum manipulations of space and time, the interior of their small cylindrical ship was more like a multi-level 140,000 square foot resort, replete with rows of lounge chairs, 4 walk-in saltwater pools, a ceiling sky with an artificial sun, and poolside drink service. The flamingos squawked, flapped, and splashed in one of the lower-level pools our hosts had set aside for them. They seemed happy not to have to wear the sunglasses. Barreling through space at 400,000 miles an hour, they seemed to be having fun, more than they ever could have had in a zoo or in the Everglades. Carrot Top, Stanton Kim, and I lay side by side in lounge chairs on the top level, watching the Reticulians relaxing in the pools below and strolling around the lower decks, all made out of smooth white stone. "This isn't so bad," Carrot Top said. "They could have melted us down or harvested our organs if they wanted. But instead, look, we're poolside, relaxing, drinking, I don't know what this is, but it's delicious and strong. Want some?" "No thanks," I grumbled. "I reckon they seem to have a peculiar respect for us," Stanton mused. "Unearned, yes, but solid, I would say, by the way they nod to us as they pass by." As if on cue, a Reticulian walked past us, slimmer than the others, and carrying a silver tray with shrimp on it in translucent cups. "Excuse me," I said, and she stopped. "Can I ask you a quick question?" She stood there, looking at us blankly. "Is Earth okay? You guys didn't, you know." I made a slashing motion across my neck, what I thought would be a universally understood sign. She looked at us, put the tray down, and took a small silver box from a sleeve wrapped around her waist. "Oh, great," Carrot Top fretted. "The one question that gets us in trouble." She pointed the box not at us, but toward the ground, and a small hologram appeared of the moon, our moon, and just beyond it, a yellow-brown ball spinning slowly. The three of us sat up and leaned in to get a closer look, eyes wide as it dawned on us what we were seeing. The hologram disappeared. She put the box back in her waist sleeve, picked up her tray, and walked on. We didn't say anything. Carrot Top put down his purple drink. I looked out at the flamingos frolicking in the pool below us and saw myself doing it too, splashing and flapping around with them. That is how I learned to let go of the earth.
For more adventures into the unknown, subscribe to Stories from Elsewhere at storiesfromelsewhere.com. Follow, comment, and share to help us grow. See you on the other side.